On October 1, 2017, Las Vegas was the site of one of the deadliest mass shootings in modern U.S. history. It was a horrific tragedy. But inside that tragedy, another story was unfolding. A story of an emergency response that was, well, remarkably effective. So today, let's dive into how years of intense preparation turned what could have been a complete operational collapse into a model for integrated action under fire.
You know, this single sentence from the official after-action report, it gets right to the heart of the whole thing. This wasn't about getting lucky. It wasn't about heroic improvisation on the fly. This was about a system that had been rehearsed so many times that when the worst happened, it just functioned, almost automatically, right in the middle of absolute chaos.
So that's the big question we're really digging into here. How? When everything imaginable was going wrong, how did so many different people and agencies manage to do the right things, together? The answer? Well, it created a blueprint that's literally changed public safety across the entire country.
To really get why the response was so successful, we first have to wrap our heads around the sheer scale and speed of the attack itself. I mean, this was just an overwhelming challenge that exploded in a matter of minutes.
Okay, so try to picture this. You have more than 22,000 people. They're all packed into a 15-acre open-air concert. They are completely exposed with very few ways to get out, and the attack starts coming from high above them. It's just a nightmare scenario.
And this timeline, it's just terrifying. The entire attack, from start to finish, lasted about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. In that time, a music festival turned into a massive, complex, and still very active crisis zone. There was literally no time to sit down and think. You could only react based on what you already knew, on the training you already had.
And the result? Over 400 people were wounded. That created an instantaneous mass casualty incident on a scale that's hard to even imagine. This wasn't just a law enforcement problem anymore. It was a massive medical and logistical crisis that slammed the entire city's emergency system all at once.
All right, so how do you even begin to confront that level of chaos? Let's take a look at the coordinated system that met it head-on, because this is where all those years of preparation really started to pay off. The first key piece of the puzzle is this concept, unified command. You see, in a lot of past incidents, you'd have the police set up their command post over here, the fire department set up theirs over there, and nobody's talking. It leads to confusion. The idea here is simple, but it's totally revolutionary. Everyone leads together, from one place with one single plan.
And on the night of Route 91, this wasn't just some theory in a textbook. They had a real unified command up and running in under 30 minutes. That means you had police chiefs, fire chiefs, and medical leaders literally standing shoulder to shoulder, making shared decisions in real time. It completely prevented the kind of fatal fragmentation we've seen in other disasters. Now, this might seem like a small technical detail, but it was an absolute game changer. Instead of keeping all the radio traffic separate, cops on one channel, firefighters on another, the dispatchers merged the channels. So a firefighter in the field could hear what a police officer was seeing a block away. Everybody was working off the exact same constantly evolving picture of what was happening. That is incredibly rare and incredibly powerful.
Another game changer was this idea of the Rescue Task Force, or RTF. This is a team that basically breaks the old rules of emergency response. It's a small group of medics and armed officers who go into an area that isn't totally safe yet, what responders call a warm zone, to start treating the wounded immediately.
So the crucial point here is this massive shift in thinking, from what we call a sequential response to a parallel one. The old way is sequential. Police have to go in and make sure the entire scene is 100% safe before a single medic is allowed to enter. It's safe, sure, but it takes precious time. The new model they used in Vegas is parallel. Medics, with police protecting them, go in at the same time as other officers are still dealing with the threat. That single change saves minutes, and in a situation like this, minutes absolutely save lives.
But here's the thing, and this is probably the most important part of this whole story. None of this happened by accident on October 1st. The response that night was built on a foundation that was laid years, almost a decade earlier. This is the real story. I mean, just look at this timeline. The work began all the way back in 2009. They adopted brand new policies and then spent years training hundreds and hundreds of first responders in these very specific integrated tactics. This was a deliberate, long-term strategy to build this capability way before they ever thought they might need it. A huge piece of this was the police training they used called MACTEC. Now, the natural instinct for any cop is to run towards the sound of gunfire, right? But the problem is, when hundreds of officers all do that at once, you get chaos. You get total gridlock. MACTAC trains them to stop, form small teams, and respond in a controlled, disciplined way.
And you can see the direct results right here. Instead of one giant, disorganized pileup of responders at the front door, MACTAC-trained officers instinctively formed small, effective teams that spread out to secure the massive scene. It prevented the response itself from collapsing under its own weight, and it let commanders make smart decisions even when they didn't have all the information yet.
But at the end of the day, this isn't just about tactics and gear. The most important thing they built over all those years was trust. Police officers, firefighters, dispatchers, doctors at the hospitals, they knew each other, they had trained together, they knew what to expect from each other. That human connection, that's the glue that holds a response like this together when everything is falling apart.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What can we all learn from this? Well, the response in Las Vegas became a national case study, and it really offers a clear blueprint for how communities everywhere can prepare for the unthinkable.
I love this quote. It says everything, doesn't it? You cannot be exchanging business cards in the middle of a 5-alarm fire. If the relationships and the systems aren't already built and practiced beforehand, they are not going to magically appear when you need them most. It's just that simple.
The playbook for getting this right is actually pretty straightforward. It's about doing the hard work together, planning together, training together, and commanding together as a single team. And underneath all of it, it's about building those personal relationships that create a foundation of trust. The formula isn't complicated, but it takes real, long-term commitment.
And you know, the lessons that were learned in Blood.Night didn't just stay in Las Vegas. The after-action report became required reading for emergency planners all over the country. It has fundamentally changed how cities prepare, how they train, and how they think about their ability to respond, shifting the entire focus to total system integration.
And that really just leaves us with this one final critical question. The ultimate lesson from Route 91 is that public safety isn't the job of just one agency. It's the result of an entire community's interconnected strength. So really, that's a question not just for first responders, it's a question for every single one of us.